This evening, President Granger's family focus aims to stem suicide. Minister Norton explains the drug storage controversy. Rohi shares views on the vigilante killings. And GPL labors to return cable to operation.
From Safetv headquarters in South Rival Gardens, this is Safetv Headline News with George Gonzalez.
Headline News is now being streamed live on our YouTube channel, as well as our website, safetvguyana.com. Join us. President David Granger feels there is a need to take a closer look at the family in order to tackle the suicide problem. This is an order the President has given to 2 ministries to bring the rate of suicide down in this country. President Granger made this known on his most recent public interest show. Andrew Weeks reports.
President David Granger said the Ministry of Public Health and the Ministry of Public Security have been tasked with finding a means of minimizing the rate of suicide in Guyana. President Granger calls it a very complex phenomenon.
And regarding it as something that could be resolved if the proper measures are implemented. For example, if there are signs of depression, and if there are other examples in the community. Sometimes you see clusters in particular communities. You see several persons over a period of time taking their lives. They feel that that is the way. Some communities are not bothered by suicide at all, but other communities display a high susceptibility to suicide. So there could be the copycat element there.
Mr. Granger feels the home is where the heart of the matter is, and his government intends to get in there for answers and solutions. He explains why.
We need to see what is taking place in families, what is causing this depression or alienation. So we need to see what is taking place in children, what they're seeing in that little device, that little BlackBerry, and ask, whether adults could intervene earlier. And that's why I came back in the previous question we did with the interpersonal violence to looking at the community. I am convinced if those children had the opportunity to go to plays or participate in plays or drama or dance or choirs, to go into sport, they would realize that they are not forgotten, they're not isolated, they're not by themselves, but they are part of a group, part of a team.
There must be a greater will to live, said President Granger. The head of state wants to get to the root of the problem because he knows that is the only way the solution can be found.
And I have not done a study of the suicide cases, but I have asked for studies to be done, and this is being dealt with by both the Ministry of Public Health and the Ministry of Public Security. And we hope that by mid-next year we could have more definitive investigations and answers to these questions. But in many areas along the coast, from Region 2, Pomeroon, Supernam, right through to East Berbice, Quarantine, and even some hinterland communities. It's more rare in the hinterland, but it's still prevalent too. So we need to find causation first before we could apply solutions.
George, President Granger said he's quite confident that with a greater emphasis on community and cultural life, suicide will be overcome. Guyana still holds the record as the leading country in this part of the world where suicide is concerned. George, back to you.
Thanks, Andrew. In an interview with Minister of Public Health George Norton, Headline News' Rihanna Ahmad raised the issue of the drug storage controversy. Will Minister Norton apologize to the National Assembly? Listen in this report.
Despite an international report which states clearly that the state-owned warehouse at Diamond on the East Bank of Demerara is suitable to house all of the country's pharmaceuticals, the government still went ahead to rent a storage bond, which costs taxpayers some $12.5 million every month. The deal, made between the Ministry of Public Health and Larry Singh of Linden Holdings Incorporated, has raised many eyebrows and left accusing fingers pointed at corruption. Here's Public Health Minister Dr. George Norton.
I was informed that we need extra storage facilities. Efforts were put in place to get a new bond, and that is how we ended up with that new bond.
On the contrary, the report prepared by the Supply Chain Management System clearly states that government is only utilizing 1,365 of the 2,300 available pallets in the Diamond Bond. Pallets are basically the base on which drugs and medication are stored for easy movement. And specialized recommendations suggest that government can make a profit of $70 million by just leasing the vacant pallets, considering there are many. Instead of delving much into this, Dr. Norton resorted to reflecting on when the PP civic government did the very shady thing.
If the diamond bond was sufficient, why shouldn't one question why we had to use the new GPC bond in the first instance?
The new GPC is owned by Bobby Ramroop, often referred to as the best friend of former president and now leader of the opposition, Barra Jagdeo. It was the main opposition that brought the deal to light after government decided to use the Linden Holdings bond and not the one being leased by new GPC. After Dr. Norton was caught trying to mislead the National Assembly in relation to this deal, an apology was demanded earlier in the month. The minister is now ready to concede.
But before the end of the week, probably later in the day, that will be done.
Meanwhile, the government attempted to justify the need of a rental bond, saying that should natural disasters strike, all the drugs stored at one location would not be damaged. It was said too that traffic congestion on the East Bank of Demerara will no longer hinder transport of medication. Political activists have, however, viewed these excuses as being an insult to the nation's intelligence. George?
Thanks, Rihanna. Police A Division Commander says he has zero tolerance for the public taking the law into their own hands. Relatives of the young man shot dead on the East Bank for operating suspiciously while at a shop are up in arms over the vigilante justice meted out to him. Mondale Smith has this update.
Relatives of the now-dead Sion Clark and police seem at odds over his character and identity. Both Clark and his alleged accomplices were chased down by an angry mob of residents from a shop at Pearl Village to Sarah Johanna East Bank Demerara over the weekend. But while one was thrashed and the other, was thrashed and fatally shot by someone from among the angry mob.
For me, I think that if he surrender or you catch a man, why would you shoot a man? For me, I thinking that in my own way, I'm wondering if he's a licensed firearm person, because if he's licensed and is a firearm person, by now he should have gone to the police. They should have apprehended him, and he should have gone and give his statement stating that Sion actually put up a fight to shoot, make he shoot Sion.
A relative who also questioned the circumstances of what she termed an execution based on suspicion.
Why would you shoot from the back? The means is either Sion was running, or you had it on the ground, face down. Because you can't shoot a man without he retaliating. You don't find him with a gun. So why would you still shoot?
The claim that is two of them, why capture one, you beat one, and why you murder. Why do you murder the other one? You shoot him in his back. Why you couldn't have probably shoot him in his foot? Just like how you capture the other one, you hand him over to the police, you could have done the same. Why is it that the vigilante is taking justice into their own hands? You're trying to tell me your children is not safe now, even though you're trying to walk in a community or somewhere, trying to look around the place. You can't just collect a suspect just like that and just try to kill people. You're taking justice into your own hand.
Comments from relatives, including an aunt, Refuting many statements made by the police about the character of the now-dead Sion, the family said as far as they are aware, Sion was never called cash money and neither was he ever imprisoned.
I never know nothing about that. If you saying that this person went to jail, provide the evidence. Go to which jail. They say he went to jail, he served his time and all of these things. Find out the jail that he was in. And his father keep on telling that he don't want anything to do with him. His father, Godfrey Clark. I think they're getting him mixed up with somebody named Cash Money. Sion Clark, his father's name is Andre Clark. I don't know who's Godfrey Clark. I don't know who's Cash Money. The person who shoot him, they need to brought to justice.
Noting that a police investigation is ongoing to apprehend the shooter and several other persons for that incident, Commander of A Division ASP Marlon Chapman offered this advice to persons who are weary of criminality.
There's a reason why there's a police force. And if at the station level you don't have the requisite satisfaction, that is why you have the commander's office. And higher officers than mine if you're not satisfied with my course of action. But you cannot take the law onto your hands and beat up people and kill them. You can't do that. That is wrong. We have a police force, a very effective police force, and we can deal with that. Just make a report, and the persons over to us, give a statement, and we will do the rest.
And what of the commander's advice to prospective criminals?
Think about it, Think about it, because at the end of the day, criminal activities is only you stand to lose.
No kidding.
So, my advice is
Crime doesn't pay.
Crime does not pay. Crime does not pay.
But reports are that the young man who was shot had just weeks ago been released from being imprisoned.
That's my information. That's my information.
What was his? What was he in prison for?
A series of robberies, robbery and arms, I understand.
For Safetv Headline News, I'm Mondale Smith.
Thanks, Mondale. The issue of vigilante killings is still being looked at. And while the president is totally against this, the country's former Home Affairs Minister also has his take. Rihanna Ahmad will tell you more.
President David Granger is of the view that even though people have a right to protect themselves and their properties, vigilantism is not something that should be tolerated, especially if it leads to serious injuries or death, as has been the result of the last few vigilante beatings that plagued the country. While the head of state remains firm in his belief, this is the position of former Home Affairs Minister Clement Rohi.
I'm not condemning nor supporting it.
Rohi believes that vigilantes cannot exactly be seen as rogue elements of the society.
People who want to contribute to safe neighborhoods, people who want to contribute to give back something to the community in terms of safety and protection.
Meanwhile, the police have already issued warnings against vigilante justice, saying that criminal charges in some of the most recent killings are expected to be meted out.
And I hope that they're not being wrongly targeted.
Like the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Rohi too is urging that vigilantes get themselves in groups that can actually make a difference. Legally, that is.
Vigilantes, whoever they might be, and this is not just a question of a labeling, whoever these persons are, once they want to make a contribution, they should not do it in this way. They should join community policing and other such groups.
21-year-old Sion Clark, also known as Cash Money of Old Road, Land of Canaan, on the east bank of Demerara, was the last person to have been killed by vigilantes during a failed attempt to rob a grocery store in a neighboring village of Sarah Johanna. George?
Thanks, Rihanna. Coming up on Headline News after the break, PPPC supporters protest the delayed hearing of elections petition, and USAID reports on democracy, human rights, and governance in Guyana.
Everybody knows John Lewis Styles as the Levi's and Dockers store. But did you know we're also an authorized dealer for Nautica, Perry Ellis, US Polo, Natural Issue, Joffrey Bean, and many others. We also carry the Bruno and Drill brands, who are actually the makers of Express shirts, at half the price of Express. So the next time you think of men's clothing, shoes, and accessories, there's only one choice. John Lewis Styles. Simply different.
Get your back-to-school supplies at colors. Backpacks from Nike and G-Tech, K-Swiss and Levi's in black. Getting gear for back to school is always a task, but Colors has the back to school sale for you. When you purchase, write your name, address and telephone number on the back of your coupon and drop it in the box. School bags, boots, everything you need for back to school. Enter and win Monster headphones, 2 phablets, 1 mountain bike. School vouchers accepted. 225-9980.
With a distinctive flavor, Umda Palka ghee is made from 100% pure vegetable oil. This Palka ghee is a delight when preparing sweetmeats and other dishes for healthy cooking with a rich buttery taste and aroma. It is used for religious purposes and is a principal fuel for burning. Umda Palka ghee is light, pure, with a real ghee texture.
When you think back to school shopping, think clearance. Get your boys in shoes for school in brands like Timberland, Reebok, Land Rover LRX, and more. While for your girls, there are Hush Puppies, Clarks, LRX, and many others. What about backpacks? Get long-lasting brands like Swiss Brand, JanSport, Nike, and Kenneth Cole, including Police and Dockers pants for boys, all at clearance. For quality clothing at affordable prices, clearance, always keeping you in style.
It's slipping through our hands, we're sinking in the sand.
Fly always. Always something new.
It's always fresh, tasty, enticing, and the best in town. Served hot from our experienced chefs. Come and enjoy our daily meals with a wide and delicious menu to choose from. Also a wide variety of pastries and dessert. We can also host your luncheons, cocktails, parties, and formal gathering. For reservation, call 225-1730, 225-0038, and delivery 225-0195 or 225-0159. The new thriving Chinese restaurant, 32 Main Street, Georgetown.
Only at Kissoon's can you get the guaranteed offer of up to 50% discount on every item in their blowout factory surplus sale. 50% off for Guyana's 50th anniversary right through the year. Check it out at their spacious factory outlet at Reinfeldt Industrial Park, where parking is no problem. They're in the mood to celebrate at Kissoon's. Once you want it, Kissoon's will make sure you don't leave without it.
This is really hot. What's wrong with your AC?
It's not working.
Well, we wouldn't be able to continue this meeting anymore because this place is extremely hot.
Wait, please don't go.
Here's a company you can call to get your AC fixed. Action Cool.
Honey, what's dinner? I had a hard day. I'm sorry you have a hard day, but guess what, babes? I didn't cook today because the stove is not working.
Having trouble at home or at the office? Then call the professionals at Action Cool. Our fully trained technical team have the skills and experience in repairs of all air-conditioned units, refrigerators, gas stoves, washing machines, and a whole lot more. For further information, visit us at 86 Hill and Princess Street, Mandela Avenue, Georgetown, or call us on telephone number 225-7867.
Michael Tenpow was accredited on August 22 as Permanent Representative and Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of Guyana to the UN. Ambassador Tenpow presented his letter of credence to Mr. Ban Ki-moon, the Secretary General of the United Nations, at its headquarters in New York. The People's Progressive Party Civic today took to the streets to protest the delayed hearing of its elections petition. Rihanna Ahmad was on the scene where protesters complained of having no crumbs.
The main opposition is still not ready to accept defeat at the 2015 general elections. It has been some 14 months since the People's Progressive Party Civic submitted a petition requesting that the court orders a forensic recount of the May 11 votes. The party is now fighting to have the matter be heard in the High Court. A protest to this effect was mounted outside of the courthouse on the Avenue of the Republic earlier today.
We need some boxes to get recounted, and GCOM don't want to do it. We have 23 boxes, and we ask them to just count one of the boxes, and if it's correct, we accept that PPP lose the election, and GCOM doesn't want to do it.
The handful of protesters is convinced that their party was cheated out of office. They believe that the delay in the hearing of the petition fits into the saying that justice delayed is justice denied.
In any other party, all the cases have been heard, but they're trying to delay the system. They're trying to delay it, and then when they're going to do co-op is when next election meet.
The protesters maintain, though, that while they do recognize the APNU-AFC coalition as their government, they feel that life has become more difficult since jobs are now harder to find.
I'm a single parent. Many days we don't get to eat. As they say, the previous government was getting the bread, we used to get the crumbs. But with this government, we don't even see the crumbs. And thank you.
George, as you would recall, the elections petition was submitted shortly after the elections last year by PPP Member of Parliament Ganga Prasad. The party insists that it will continue to protest and do all that it can for the petition to have a hearing.
Thanks, Rihanna. GPL is working assiduously to return cable to operation. On Thursday, August 18, 2016, a GPL team with assistance from a team of submarine cable experts from China retrieved GPL submarine cable from the Demerara riverbed in order to assess the extent of the damage to the cable. GPL had conducted a comprehensive test on the cable subsequent to a total shutdown on Tuesday, July the 12th. The test attributed the incident to faulty insulation at the connection, or pothead, linking the 69 kilovolt submarine cable to the overhead transmission lines at Kingston. Based on preliminary distance readings obtained from the protective devices at GPL substations at Kingston and Vredenhoop, the test indicated damage to the cable. An inspection of the cable was necessary in order to determine the extent of the damage. Having established a degree of damage, the submarine cable experts have since recommended a remedial course of action, which is to remove the damaged section and to joint the cable using a special submarine cable jointing kit, which GPL is currently pursuing in order to bring the cable back into operation in the shortest amount of time. In the interim, the company has confirmed that there is sufficient capacity within East Demerara and Berbice to meet the electricity demands of its customers. Bishram Kupin, one of two PPPC councilors, was finally convinced at the Mayor and City Council statutory meeting on Monday that there are no secret bank accounts at City Hall. Andrew Weeks reports.
On Monday, City Mayor Patricia Chase Green was adamant that the issue of the secret bank accounts, an accusation that was made by a PPC councillor, must come to an end.
It is unfair, totally unfair to the Treasury Department, to the administration, and to me, as the mayor of the city of Georgetown, to be listening and reading all of the trash in the papers about secret bank accounts.
According to the town clerk, the councillor failed to find out from the treasurer or the town clerk about its accounts. The town clerk explained the types of accounts which exists at the council and which are in accordance with the Municipal District Councils Act, Chapter 2801, Section 148. The council has, according to law, a general account and a subsidiary accounts. Town clerk Wilson King explains.
So you have the general account. So when you're ready to pay salaries, you put the salaries into the general account so that you can pay from the salaries account. This is what the law says at 146. Then we have the subvention account. The subvention account is the account that is set aside for a subvention coming from government to do special projects. In this case, capital works. Of course, we have the markets account. We also have the proficiency account, that is monies for the welfare from the constab, and that account is not active. So these are matters that have been explained. I remember this is not the first time.
After this explanation, many of the councillors felt that the way Councillor Kupin dealt with the matter by taking it to the press without any proof has put the mayor, councillors and taxpayers into disrepute. A motion was ordered for the councillor to retract his statements and apologize.
In the constituency of which I traverse, I get in a conflict with this because one person was saying that I am defending it from a political point of view, which is totally incorrect.
You know, we are not aware of certain things, and now that we are educated, the good thing to do is to apologize.
So why would we hide money in another account, remain in overdraft, I have to pay $1.3 million to the bank every month? That don't make sense to me. That don't make mathematical sense to me. That don't make sense at all.
We cannot have councillors going to the press, not even in this meeting, going to the press to talk about 4 secret bank accounts, as though it is true, as though it is a fact, as though there is some evidence. And that same councillor has not even up until now said, look, these are the numbers of the bank account, and these are where these accounts are being held. And I'm very, very, very upset about this matter.
After the debate, Councillor Bishram Kupin was asked to respond.
The answer has now been given that there are no secret bank accounts. And when the mayor asked that question, I subscribe to the question that I'm satisfied that there are no secret bank accounts. I don't know what else I can say based on the foregoing.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Cooper. Councillors, as a council, are you satisfied with the explanation given by council? He's not on trial. Let us make it quite clear. He's not on trial. He danced with the apology. He danced, as politicians do, but he did in a kind of a way, said that, more or less, I'm sorry.
George, these issues occurring at City Hall these past few months are sufficient to warn councillors to desist from practices which have no foundation of truth. Such practices only lead to public embarrassment later on. Let's hope all members will focus on business, on getting the job done, not on scandalous, misleading declarations. George, back to you.
Thanks, Andrew. A recent assessment carried out by USAID on democracy, human rights, and governance in Guyana has recommended significant reforms for the Guyana police force, while calling for a more regulated private security sector. Although Guyana has seen an increase in criminal prosecutions and improved successes in crime fighting, the report said there is still need for the police force to strengthen its investigations and prosecutions. It is said an estimated 90% of prosecutions are unsuccessful, and the police force is the least trusted institution in the country. The level of public trust in the police stands at 24.3%, which is down from 41.5% in 2012. The report said one senior security functionary attributed the low level of public trust to the police force's culture of covering up issues and a reluctance to discipline higher ranks when wrongdoing is uncovered. It was also felt that the Police Complaints Authority should be constituted differently, with persons not tied to the police force who could operate more independently. The report also focused on the private security sector and noted that the sector is poorly regulated and employs significant numbers of women and older persons. The security guards are poorly paid and often the victims of sexual harassment and other crimes. According to the report, the court system is one of the few means to get redress in the country. However, the system is slow and cumbersome. The USAID assessment pointed out that access to justice in the interior region is difficult, where the magistrates' court sittings are held in hinterland regional capitals only once every 3 months, as there is currently only one magistrate. It found that most of the national human rights institutions are not effective or functioning because of stalled appointments, among other issues. The number of persons diagnosed with the Zika virus continues to grow as chikungunya remains slothful in its elimination. Rihanna Ahmad sought an update on the status of these two viruses. Here's more.
Chikungunya first arrived in Guyana in May of 2014, causing some amount of worry. A few months later, in January of this year, the Zika virus hit, bringing with it substantial panic. It is August 2016, and these viruses remain a challenge for the health sector. This was the indication given by the country's Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Shamdeo Prasad, who cited the growing number of Zika cases.
We have about 42 cases that are confirmed. We are looking at a few others at this point in time. Chikungunya has not been that prevalent. The numbers are less, but we still have some cases, especially along Region 4, Region 3 area, but not as many. And dengue too. We do have some positive cases of dengue.
During an interview, Dr. Prasad noted that testing is still being done for the Zika virus, while the number of persons being treated for the chikungunya virus continues to slothfully decline.
We are not testing everyone, but we're trying to target areas that we don't know that we have transmission, so we're identifying samples from those regions to send to CARFA lab for testing.
Fortunately, there have been no cases of yellow fever here in Guyana, and this can be attributed to the country's high immunization coverage.
I think that almost everyone in Guyana has had a yellow fever vaccine in their lifetime. That's what WHO is requiring. The problem is finding those records and obtaining the certificate.
Recognizing Guyana's record-keeping skills, or more accurately, the lack thereof, a number of countries have already removed the certificate requirements of Guyanese traveling overseas and within the Caribbean region. George?
Thank you, Rihanna. Still ahead, Police Blotter.
Women's fashion trends change every day. That's why John Lewis Styles makes it their duty to source items directly from the manufacturing brand, offering you more choices and better prices. Women love to look great, whether it's for work or play, from clothing, shoes, accessories, to handbags, watches, fragrances. Let's make you feel like the only girl in the world. John Lewis Styles. Simply different.
With a distinctive flavor, Umda Palka ghee is made from 100% pure vegetable oil. This Palka ghee is a delight when preparing sweetmeats and other dishes for healthy cooking with a rich buttery taste and aroma. It is used for religious purposes and is a principal fuel for burning. Umda Palka ghee is light, pure, with a real ghee texture.
Don't let this moment in history pass you by. Kissoons want every Guyanese home to showcase a new piece of furniture to remember this glorious event of our Jubilee celebration. Kissoons have gone crazy. Every item is on sale right through this year in the Big Broad Factory Surplus Sale, up to 50% off for the 50th birthday at Kissoons.
This place is really hot. What's wrong with your AC?
It's not working.
Well, we wouldn't be able to continue this meeting anymore because this place is extremely hot.
Wait, please don't go.
Here's a company you can call to get your AC fixed. Action Cool.
Honey, what's dinner? I had a hard day.
I'm sorry you had a hard day, but guess what, babes? I didn't cook today because the stove is not working.
Having trouble at home or at the office? Then call the professionals at Action Cool. Our fully trained technical team have the skills and experience in repairs of all air-conditioned units, refrigerators, gas stoves, washing machines, and a whole lot more. For further information, visit us at 86 Hill and Princeton Street, Mandela Avenue, Georgetown, or call us on telephone number 225-7867.
Police are investigating the shooting of O'Neal Haley, 21 years, of Queen Street, Kitty, which occurred around 9:30 last night in front of his home. Haley was allegedly shot by a male armed with a handgun. Enquiries disclosed that earlier in the night, the victim and the suspect had an argument in Allboys Town over a previous misunderstanding. Later, he was confronted by the suspect, who shot him twice in his left leg and escaped. The victim was rushed to the GPHC, where he was treated and sent away. The suspect has not yet been apprehended. And that's Safetv 2 headline news for this Tuesday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to find Safetv 2 headline news on Facebook, YouTube, and safetvguyana.com. You can also tune in at 6:30 tomorrow morning for a rebroadcast, and Wednesday evening at 7 o'clock for more news. For now, I'm George Gonzalez, signing out from this newscast. Do have a blessed evening.